it is time for the show. And we normally are, happy-go-lucky, fun-loving here on Legends Look Back. Got to start off, however, tonight, a little bit of a different tone. Something huge has happened in my life, and I feel like I need to address it here on the show. Never really been anything quite like this that's happened to me. And I'm not sure how it's going to affect Legends Look Back. So I just wanted to at least get it out for our listeners to know about, and I haven't really even explained this totally to the team. So Rick, I at least need to see your faces here as I tell you about this. It's honestly not something I saw coming, and I still am not totally sure how I feel about it.
Concerned here.
Yeah.
Well, notoriously, we love Star Wars books on this show.
Yes.
Admittedly.
And I read a book that we have made fun of for 3 years. That book is Ruins of Dantooine.
Mm-hmm.
This is what's going to get me canceled. There was bound to be something that was going to come up, and this is probably it. And I've got to put it out live on the show, guys. I liked Ruins of Dantooine. I really enjoyed it. I really liked Ruins of Dantooine. We made fun of this book. I mean, look at this cover. All right, here it is. It looks like it's straight out of the PlayStation 1.
So actually, that's a snapshot from Star Wars Galaxies.
Just a screenshot of the game.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
and it's pretty good.
Jared, Rick, how do we cancel him?
Yeah, we can go ahead. Let me see.
Can you press a button?
There's a thing.
All right. We gave him a minute.
Justin says
there's a thing about
space.
There's a thing about Legends books, and some of them, if you were to judge a book by its cover, you would probably not read it. And believe it or not, before the Essential Legends collection, the book series we're talking about now is one of them.
Right.
I have to read that one next.
Yeah, that's right.
So check out like for instance, the Darth Bane original covers. Those don't look like
the second one doesn't have the same artist, the original cover, which we've talked about a lot. I'd say second only to Ruins of Dantooine, this infamous cover. In fact, I brought this to Star Wars Celebration, and we had like a display of Legends books and then canon books and comics, and tried to display some of the more recent books, what we're talking about and what's on the shows. And then I snuck my little copy of Ruins of Dantooine in there, and within seconds of putting it on display. We had Teresa Bakura was not supposed to be up there, and within seconds it did not slip by Corey. He was like, who the F put this here? And I was like,
it was not on brand.
100% Freddie. Tom from Del Rey comes by. Tom from Del Rey even sees this thing, and now I'm like, oh no, now I'm in hot water. We've got to try to maintain a good reputation with Del Rey, and then he's like, why don't you make sure that you have that book front and center for everybody to see? And I was like, yes, Tom's in on the joke. So I'm very, very excited to report. I did not consider it one of the best Star Wars books I've ever read. I did not, I don't think it's tier 1. I don't think it's tier 2, but it's also not tier F. What kind of tier system am I using
numbers.
Yeah.
Out of 4.
It's not tier A, or it's not tier 1, but it's tier red.
Definitely Alpha Red 3.
We've made jokes about this, and I'm going to blame Trevor. Trevor is the one who has infamously said that it's not a good book, and he's wrong. Calling you out right here, Trev. Live on Legends Look Back.
For the record,
perfectly okay.
Trevor's not going to listen to this until tomorrow, so
fine.
It's not going to be live for him. So
it could be today for him. Who knows?
I mean, it is. Is it today or tomorrow? This is like the wake up dead paradigm.
It's yesterday. Well, I will say there was a lot of like, hey, this chapter is like, oh, they go to this new place. And then the next chapter is like, okay, we're definitely getting a tour of some of the video game locations. But it came together. It really did. I did see the twist coming, so it didn't do a great job at hiding it. But I was very happy to say I enjoyed Ruins of Dantooine. Boom, I approve this message. And Emily said she just read another infamously not the best Legends book. What was it?
Splinter the Mind's Eye.
And your
It
rating?
was, I normally don't go below a 4 on Goodreads. This one was a 2. But there were parts of it that were kind of cool, like the whole underground culture and like the flora and whatnot. That was kind of fun, but most of it was pretty weird.
Yeah, I'm being called out in the chat here by, who was this that scrolled a little bit? Paul Murphy. What's up, Paul? Thanks for staying up late with us. For the fact that I just read the first of the Lando Calrissian adventures and did not dig it. I did not. I would say I think I enjoyed Splinter of the Mind's Eye more.
Oh, man.
We also had a fun time with Heather on that one, right, Freddie?
Yeah, we did. Oh, man. Splinter of the Mind's Eye. Is that a book worth revisiting? I think you should just go check out our original on that one.
That's right. It's a classic. If nothing else, Heather was off the chain, unhinged, unleashed, much like the Sith Lords we're going to be talking about tonight in the Darth Bane rule of... Nope. Roll it again. Much like the Sith Lords we're going to be talking about tonight as we are talking about Darth Bane, Dynasty of Evil. It is an absolutely excellent book. Is it better than Splinter of the Mind's Eye? You find out. The jury's out. We're going to talk about it right here and right now on Legends Look Back. Let's get it started. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Legends Look Back, proudly part of the Utini Podcast Network. This is a Star Wars books podcast for people with irrevocable neck damage from playing video game demos at Walmart, you know what I'm talking about, where we celebrate our rich EU history as well as dive into lesser-known Star Wars classics. You've tuned into part 1 of our Darth Bane Dynasty of Evil Roundtable. I'm your host, Jared Mays, and I'm joined by my legendary co-hosts tonight. Who knows where he is? I can't keep track of him, but he's here with us live. Freddie C.
I'm here hanging out in the desert. Not quite the same desert as Emily's in. Different kind of desert. Monsoon season's coming, so hopefully I stay alive.
Yeah, monsoon season. Is that a thing out west where you
Is
are?
that a thing?
I thought it was
Yeah,
like a
south.
East Coast thing.
No, Southwest. Around this time, actually, yesterday, a couple days ago, monsoon season officially started, and it is basically lasts till September, and it's all of the rainfall for the entire year in maybe about a couple months. So it's about a torrential rainpour for probably about a couple weeks straight. With intense lightning, fires everywhere. It's about chaos, and it feels like this book.
Oh, jeez.
Wow. Yeah, definitely. You know who else is somewhere in the middle of a move? Emily Daybeck. How are you, Emily?
Well, you know, I really embraced the dark side today, Jared, as I was trying to get my tires replaced at Costco. What a lawless place. Like, oh my gosh. Like, there are people cutting each other off everywhere. Like, I have never felt so much rage so quickly as I did today, as I was just trying to get like to the tire center. It's right at the door. And like, I got cut off like 6 times and like got stopped several times, and like my toddler's melting down, and it was just...
Let the rage flow through you.
Let the rage flow. That's where I'm at tonight.
That's where you need
all
some,
about the dark
some of
side
that
right
force
now.
lightning
Right.
That
on
would
your
help.
side.
Yep.
Wow.
You know, it's probably a
that for
good
the
thing that
thumbnail.
force sensitives are not as far as we know, are not a true thing. Because just imagine how many dark-siders we would have.
Ooh.
Just
Oh,
all
right.
Especially in like places like California and New York, where traffic
my
and
gosh.
personal space are limited.
Now I'm
Yes.
imagining everybody with like a New York accent cutting each other down.
Hey, you
with
talking to me?
lightsabers yeah, that's right. You're zapped. You're zapped, buddy. Absolutely. You know who's not zapped? In fact, he's perfectly fine. We're happy that he's here. He keeps the show running. Our producer, Rick Grace.
Howdy, I'm here. Fun fact, it is my mother's 73rd birthday tonight, and she is in town visiting me,
gosh.
and she's like, are you sure you have to do your Star Wars show tonight? And I'm like, yes, mother, I
Oh. That's the
Yeah.
most mom thing to say. Happy birthday. What's her name?
Rose.
Happy birthday, Rose.
Rose
Yeah.
by any other name is still a rose.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mm.
But anyway, she's
It is
not watching this,
essential.
so
Essential that
Oh,
you are
man.
here.
yeah. I was like, sorry, Mom, I can't miss.
We learned the hard way that Freddie, you remember that one time I couldn't figure out how to turn the show off? I was like, where's that dang button that turns off the dang thing?
Yeah.
Infamously,
during the
Cheryl
golden
called
years.
it the best moment in Legends Look Back history.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know.
Nice.
Personally, I think it was the Darth Hannah moment,
It's a good moment too.
Listen.
who is, of course,
We'll get to that. I have some notes.
good.
I
Excellent.
have
That
some
is, of
notes.
course,
Still
the
one of my
character that we're going to be talking about.
Memories,
We're
by
going to be
the
talking
way.
about Darth Hannah tonight on all stuff. No Legends Look At, though I know for a fact that both Freddie and Rick have things that I've sent them. Because I came back from Star Wars Celebration with those things into this house. I was like, nope, you're right. I'm going right back to the post office. And I did. And they've arrived. And everybody's the better for it. And we'll get there in a couple weeks. For now, however, we're going to be talking about Darth Bane, Dynasty of Evil. This was my Christmas present in 2009. Look. Oh, yeah. My personal copy. I remember I got this under the Christmas tree. Carl said it's his favorite story that I've ever told. So I'm telling it for the 5th time in Utini history that I bought this with Christmas money from my grandma. Just passed away, Grandma. You know what, Grandma? I'm still proud to say that I spent your Christmas money on Dynasty of Evil because it's a great book. And she was pretty much ready to put me in an insane asylum buying a book called Dynasty of Evil. But here we are, and we're going to talk about it. We also want to give a shout out to our new patron, Tim Costello. Thank you, Tim. We've got a lot of expenses, as you can see by my flashy lights back here. And to help us keep the show running. Very grateful for all of our incredible patrons. Just launched the tattoo video the other day. Very excited for my dad to never see that. And for all of our patrons, however, to get to enjoy it. And it was a lot of fun. Emily, you were there for some of it. Came by and, gave me a pep talk from time to time. It was only a little bit. They come and pick me up and back to the booth because I had passed out and they wouldn't let me leave by my own accord. Nevertheless, she didn't come. She sent Freddie. As they all would. In such
Had a baby.
a situation.
How can I push a stroller while also like helping Jared walk? Like, couldn't quite figure that one out. So I sent Freddie.
I wasn't thinking clearly. I opened my phone and I clicked the first number. I didn't even really know who it was going to be. Could have been Corey. Could have been Tyler. I'm just kidding. I knew it was you. I needed help and I trusted you. Also, I knew for a fact you were at that booth.
That's true.
I'm grateful and I'm very excited for everybody to get to take a peek at that. Got another episode of the Gavin base builds coming out soon, showing how I built this thing. There it is. Yep, right over there. And we're going to get right into it, whether you're a patron or not. This episode's for you because we're live on youtube.com/Utini. You can catch us every single Thursday night for the most part. So, Freddie, tell us about what book we are reading and talking about tonight.
Yeah, so we're talking about, of course, Dynasty of Evil, which is book 3 of the Bane trilogy. First of all, the title itself, I think, is a great representation about this book. It is absolutely evil, and it is, I would say, the dynasty of where the Sith really became who they are. The author is Drew Karpyshyn. The date of the book, did I get that right? I'm never sure about his last name.
I've heard it pronounced 2 different ways, neither of which the way you said it.
Classic.
I've heard it as Karpyshyn, and I've heard it as Karpyshyn.
Karpyshyn.
I've not heard that one, except for right now.
Apologies
I just
to you, Mr. Drew. There.
I'll give him a shout out. We talked with him about coming on the show for an interview, and while he said no, he said it really nicely. And so, huge shout out for that. Very responsive to the email. Within minutes, maybe, I don't know. And
maybe worse, actually.
Quick rejection. That's always the best kind.
And
Give it to me
cordial, a quick and cordial rejection.
Yeah,
it's like if you're gonna get decapitated.
It's not me, it's you.
If you're gonna get killed by a Sith Lord. Like, you would want it to be a quick decapitation, as opposed to, this is getting brutal. I'm gonna follow this wherever it goes. Instead of like a slow, torturous death, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like the Yuuzhan Vong put you in the embrace of pain.
Oh yeah.
People like Bane, they just lop it off, right?
It's true.
So, or Anakin does, at least. So he did, however, give us a rejection, and his reason was very kind. It was not that he doesn't like the show. In fact, I don't know if he's ever watched the show. We're going to say he's a big fan of the show. Right, we're just going to go ahead and say
He's
that.
a huge fan of the show.
Definitely.
He didn't say he wasn't, so
Massive.
He's a correspondent.
He must be an
He's
avid
at least
fan.
a correspondent with the show.
Mm.
He did say he has gone under an embargo. He and his writing partners, they're working on a big project. Take these glasses off. A big secret project. What could this project be? We don't know. But he said they have gone under. They as a pact said they were not going to take any interviews while they're working on this big project. I've got some theories about what the project is. What's that?
We may get Drew on, in the future. We never know.
That's right. Yeah, he was at least kind. And so, hey, shout out to him for being very gracious and generous with us.
Yeah. So,
I did not ask him in the email how to pronounce his name, which is what I should have done.
Carpisian,
Missed opportunity.
Carpisian.
Carpisian.
One of these
Carpisian
days,
seems
hopefully
right
we
to
get it
me.
right. Hopefully I said it right at least once. So book was released
People with
December.
weird last names, they don't really care about how you say it as much. They're like, listen, you tried.
Yeah.
Also, yeah.
I'm sorry. Go on, Freddie.
No worries,
What
no
were you saying?
worries. December 2009 is when this book was released, and bit of behind the scenes, the ELC, can we say that with confidence? ELC, and people understand that it's Epic Legends Collection.
I don't know. You
Essential.
talk about it, and
Essential,
I'll find,
epic.
I'll
I
find
think
my
it's
volume.
epic. It's also essential.
It's both.
I'm pretty sure-
definitely.
ELC.
Is it C for cover
Essential
or
Legends.
collection? No, I'm just kidding.
That was released April, so we've had this book for not too long, and I'm really glad. Well, the original we've had for a while, but this new Epic Essential Legends cover collection is what we'll call it.
Yeah.
Definitely. I'm really glad that they came out for a couple of reasons. One, it gets Bane back in the ether, but two, look at these beautiful covers. They completely, I would say, from the original covers, these are significantly better, and especially if you put all three of them together, it kind of creates like a panel, like a comics panel of sorts.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna do it live on air. I gotta find.
Ooh, we're gonna do it live.
Ooh.
You heard it here first. So
Okay.
what do you think of the original covers versus the Essential Legends collection covers?
Well,
Anyone?
I do think that's the original for this one. Dynasty of Evil is not bad. It's definitely my favorite of the original for the three. But
Same.
yeah, I really like the very little color in the ELC. I did it. The ELC new covers, and so I'm a fan.
Yeah.
Does she have a yellow lightsaber? I didn't remember that fact.
I don't remember it either.
Why isn't it red?
It's red. Yeah, it should be red, right?
It's just
Yeah.
contrast, I guess.
Emily, I've noticed that.
Y'all
It
are
would
all,
be-
you get so caught up on the colors of different characters' lightsabers. Like, I can't even tell you how many times I've heard you complain about the color of the lightsaber being wrong. And you didn't notice that she has a yellow lightsaber and not a red one?
I'm just gonna let Emily have the screen for a second because she earned that one.
I'm just saying,
Yeah,
like,
tear us a new one. Go for it. This is your moment.
yes,
There's
she's,
a new one,
she's
we're ready.
blonde. Does that also apply to the lightsaber?
Are you
'Cause, like,
implying
they're-
that we didn't notice?
This is the moment that I'm actually canceled.
thrice canceled on one show?
The real question
I
is when is Ruins of Dantooine getting its ELC release?
It needs one. It's pretty
Asking
good.
hard questions here.
I'd have to say, Ruins of Dantooine, if I were to see a cover again,
Oh yeah.
I would want to see the same kind of snapshot, just a
No.
different angle.
No.
Just a different.
This is a
different planet.
chance. Yeah, this is
So-
a chance.
But there's actually ruins on Dantooine.
Yep.
And I would like a shot of those ruins. They're cool. I'm not gonna say what it is. I'm gonna say everybody deserves to read. We gotta talk about this book on Legends Look Back. It's gonna have to happen. It is the Legends Lost Stars. You heard it here first, folks.
What?
The Legends Lost Stars. I said
What?
it. It is. I said it.
Okay.
Wow.
Someone, I don't know
Those
who
are
it was.
fighting words.
Yeah, those are big.
Someone in the past, I recall in the chat, we were knocking Legends of Dantooine, and someone was like, "Hey guys, it's actually pretty good." And I remember saying to myself, "Dang it, we're gonna have to read that now."
Yeah.
I'd be up for
read
doing
it.
that as a roundtable. Be the
It's
first
short.
roundtable that I haven't really read before.
Yeah, we'll get there.
I read.
We'll get there. All right, we're talking about Darth Bane, Dynasty of Evil for tonight.
Yes.
The original cover is a little stagnant. It's a little bit static. It's good because it's the same artist as the first cover, and we do have some great intel here from Skooma Joe, whose last name I will not try to pronounce. Debating how to pronounce last names.
I think I could do it.
We joked about if it was. Let's not say it on air.
Okay.
We were joking about if his last name was Joe. First name's Skooma, right? The name is Joe, Skooma Joe. So he says that Bane is drawn with black and red on the first cover. That's not it.
That's definitely
Okay.
no. That's not
Back
it
to the
either.
drawing board. Trying again. Here it is. Bane
This
is
is
drawn
hilarious.
with black and red on
Okay.
the first cover. I'm colorblind, so y'all help me out. Hannah is drawn with black and yellow on the second cover. True. Also the Dread Lord Xana. And then book 3, Skinny Boy, a little short book here, is the opposing covers. So we put them together like a Megazord. And I need another hand. This is why I don't believe. Yeah, thank you. This is why I don't believe in cross-species evolution, because we would have sprouted more hands by now. Right?
There you go.
Yeah, this is the thumbnail for sure. I can't. All right, where's my kid? Kid, come up here and help me.
Somehow, kid appeared.
All right, here's the cat.
Yeah.
Anyway, you get the picture, do you?
I get the picture.
Yeah. So you put them
There
together.
it is.
Red plus yellow equals green. So this is not green.
Says the colorblind guy.
Yeah, I don't know. Orange. Is that orange? It should be orange. Here we are. I like the cover. Moving on. Guys, this is the book. We've talked about all of the behind the scenes things we could possibly talk about. These came out in the entirety of my high school years. And this is, all right, the one last thing I have to say about this before we get into spoiler heavy territory is a theory. Darth Bane is the reason why I didn't give Clone Wars a chance back in 2008. And I was wrong, and I enjoy it.
Explain.
Help me out. Take a guess on what I'm trying to get across here.
So I recall Darth Bane being shown somewhere.
He's in season 6. He's in season 6, the very end of near the end of Clone Wars.
That's right.
That's not what I'm talking about. So nice try, Freddie.
Okay.
Strike one.
Strike one. All right. So what's next? What else? What's another reason?
All right, Freddie, do they actually refer to Darth Bane, or are you talking about Cad Bane? It got
Cad
awkwardly
Bane.
quiet.
He is.
I mean,
in Clone Wars, he's voiced by Mark Hamill. This is one of the fun things about Bane and Clone
Oh
Wars.
yes, okay, I remember this now.
Is he Ham won an Emmy. He was on one episode and one episode only, and he won an Emmy. And he's joked about like have this stellar voice cast. He comes on for one episode and wins an Emmy. So, way to go, Mark. I almost called him Darth Hamill. Mark Hamill. Somebody send him that clip. I'm sure he'll like it. All right, here's what I mean. These books were dark and edgy and epic and brutal. And then they came out while I was in high school. 06, 07, 08, 09, in that time period. And then in the middle of all that, in 2008, Clone Wars comes to the theater. And it's not dark. It's not edgy. It's brutal, but I didn't know it because I didn't go to the theaters to watch it.
Yeah.
This
Wasn't that
trilogy
two
is the
episodes combined?
reason- Yeah, 4, isn't it? Anyway, this is the reason why I did not give Clone Wars a chance, because I was so deeply into Darth Bane. You see what I'm saying?
That makes sense.
Yeah.
You couldn't see Darth Bane slaughtering people and then watch a young
Snips.
Padawan call
Sky
Anakin
Guy,
Sky Guy. Yeah,
and
it
hey,
makes
I'll
sense.
eat
It makes
crow.
sense.
They can exist in the same universe, but to go back in the time capsule here, these were coming out at the same time. This was coming out
Mhm.
right alongside the original run of Clone Wars. Isn't that wild to
Yeah.
think about all these years later?
That is crazy.
Yeah, that is. And for those who weren't aware of it, during the original release of the Clone Wars, a lot of people weren't too fond of it.
Yeah,
Because it almost seemed like it was going in the direction of a kids show, right? Which happy fun time show, with silly droids and a silly Padawan, and Anakin gets called interesting names, and until it got serious, which it was always the point of the show, was to start light and then get into the dark times of the Star Wars universe, right? Anakin being the main guy and or the main villain, and seeing the fall and slowly the mistrust between master and apprentice, and it
Spider
definitely gathered legs, but I could see how gather legs, get it?
just Freudian slipped you. My bad.
Yeah, that was good.
It was a Freudian slip.
Freudian
There it
Freudian
is. All right,
slip.
Bridget's
That was
canceled.
good. But yeah, so I could totally see why someone coming from this dark era, this thing that happened in the same universe at that time, right? How could we see this mayhem and then go into that? And Jared understood. A lot of people had that same sentiment at the beginning. So
Yeah. Did
You
you
know
did
that-
you read these back when they were coming out, Freddie? The Darth Bane books?
no,
'Cause
I read
remember
Darth.
being so unbelievably excited for book 3. I think this is one of the few Star Wars books I've read. Like I bought like release day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, so the first 2 books I read a little bit later, because book 3 was being released, and I just remember thinking I need to read these 2, and I remember waiting for book 3, and when book 3 dropped, it did not disappoint. So very happy
No,
about
it
that.
doesn't. And we've already had some debate in the chat tonight about which of the books is the best in the trilogy. So we're gonna get there.
Yeah.
We're gonna get there.
Unwinnable.
Yeah, that there's nobody has to be right or wrong in this argument. However, there can only be 2, and one of us will emerge victorious, and the other has to die. It's just the rules. It's not my fault. It's just the rules. So, spoiler warning: this is gonna get super spoilery. We're gonna go there. We have to, because the ending is one of the most epic endings in Star Wars history, movies included.
Keep your egg salad away, because we're about to spoil it.
There it is. Absolutely.
Oh.
Oh, that reminds me. I think I left the fried chicken on the
Gross.
dinner table. So, hey, this is your chance. Go and check out Darth Bane, Dynasty of Evil. You can get your free audiobook from audible.com over on utini.com. Here's the way you do it. You go to utini.com, and then you think about leaving utini.com. And then as soon as you think about leaving, the ad hits you. And then you click it, and then it gives you a free audiobook. I kid you not. And you can spend it on Darth Bane, Dynasty of Evil, read by Jonathan Davis, which is one of the most perfect performances in Star Wars audiobook history.
Yeah.
Trust me, I listened
just-
to the entire thing in 2 days.
Remember,
Hey.
that's crazy. But that doesn't just that, the audiobook is a performance. You've got the voice actor playing multiple voices. You've got music, which I'm sorry guys, but I have to listen to mine at like 1.3 max, because I enjoy the music in the background, and it really just gives an effect.
Yeah.
When you put it on like 2 times speed, it's like
Yeah.
it's crazy.
You're
It comes
missing
out like
something.
this. Right. Star Wars. Oh.
Yeah.
It's a little wild.
All right. Tangent. Do you guys listen to the end? Like, do you have to wait
course.
until you hear Audible hopes you've enjoyed this program?
I have to.
Yeah.
I got to hear that voice.
Same every time.
Yeah.
Wait,
was
hold
just
on.
checking.
You just cringed, Emily. Do you not do it?
No, I do.
Okay, good.
I was gonna say,
So
Emily
you were gonna
probably
get
listens
canceled
at 4
alongside
times
me and
speed.
Rick.
I was at 2.25 on the way back. But pro tip, I have found that if you have your headphones in, you can pay better attention. At least I can, than when it's like in the car or like on a speaker. Like for some reason, if it's right in my ear, I can focus better when it's faster. Like usually like 1.75 is about my max for really like enjoying it. But if I've read it before, which I have read Bane before, I can go a little bit faster if I'm crunched for time, which I was today. So
Yeah.
Wait, you finished it today?
I did about 2 hours before coming back on the show.
Oh my god!
But again, this was a reread for me, so different.
Yeah, on that point, Rick did tell me last week we might have to move the show back. I don't know if I can finish it on time. A couple days later, he messaged and said, "Don't worry, I've learned I can listen at 2.75 speed as long as I'm reading the book at the same time." And I'm just picturing Rick like that cat meme. The cat meme, the one that's like flipping those pages real quick.
Oh man, it was it was Kindle, thankfully. So this was. But,
like you're playing Pokemon Go.
Yeah,
awesome.
something like that.
I love it. Somebody else in the chat, maybe it was Justin, said that he binged the book in like 6 hours or something like that. So shout out to you.
Mad respect.
It was really fun turning up the audible speed and seeing the time go down like exponentially. You crank it up over 2 and it's like, holy cow, this is like seriously exponential time differentials. Like
45-minute book.
Yeah.
I'm picturing you like Bane when he's in his hardcore study sesh trying to squeeze all the juices out of the holocron in order to get those deep dark secrets.
Yes, Rick was squeezing the juices out of the book. For sure.
Yeah.
Moist.
Did you? No, Rick.
Gosh.
Did you do like Bane did and smash the book against the wall out of frustration?
No,
you were done?
I mean, I wanted more. Yes, so.
Okay, here we go. Idea.
Yes.
This every now and then I've got a home run idea. I've got about 10 horrible ideas for every one good one. Weigh in the chat and tell me what you think about this idea. I just had this right here on the spot. Did not warn them. A holocron that's also a Star Wars audiobook player. Like a Echo or a what are those? The ones.
Hey, I like that.
Oh yeah.
Amazon.
Oh yeah.
The Google Dots.
If they made like
Google Home Mini.
Yeah,
smart home.
the Google Dots. And so
Echo
a
Dot.
holocron
Killing me.
that plays exclusively Star Wars audiobooks.
All right, it has to levitate. It has to have a magnetic base where it levitates and spins, and then I'm in.
All right.
Okay,
Somebody tell
try
Corey.
that.
Corey loves a good entrepreneurial idea, right?
Seriously.
Yeah.
Does.
Entrepreneur.
Yeah.
All right. So, spoiler warning, we wasted a lot of time. We're going to get right into it. Here it is. It's been 20 years since Bane decimated both the Jedi and the Sith on Ruusan and established the rule of 2. After the Orbalisk incident, the one where he had to painfully rid himself of the flesh-eating, dark-side-fueled body armor parasites accidentally acquired from grave-robbing a long-dead Sith Lord, as we all do from time to time, his body is beginning to fail him, exhibited by the slight tremor in his right hand that he hopes Xana doesn't notice, or does he? Nevertheless, that dastardly youthful apprentice of his hasn't made her big move yet to challenge him. It's in the freaking rule book. She has to challenge him in an epic duel to the death, only one of whom can survive. Bane, frustrated, takes matters into his own trembly hands, like any good Sith would, on a dangerous quest for the secrets of eternal life. His quest leads him to the holocron of Darth and Dedu. There, he unlocks the ancient Sith ritual of essence transfer, patent pending, in which one can force their consciousness upon the unsuspecting, weak-minded husk of another being, kick them out of their own mind, and take up residence in their fleshly vessel. Can't believe I just said fleshly vessel on the podcast,
man.
but here we are.
Good. Husk was a good word too. I like that. Both of them.
Yeah, husk I think is a little less odd. But keep going.
Yeah.
Fleshly,
Let's
moist
redeem
vessel.
this.
Keep going.
I'll allow it.
Fleshly.
The downside of all of this, of course, is that if he fails, his consciousness will be trapped in limbo for all eternity. What could possibly go wrong? Meanwhile, while Darth Xana, the slacker, is up to her own shenanigans, she's trying to search for her own next in line should she successfully dethrone Bane. She really is a rule follower, despite the fact that Bane has kind of written her off. She wants to be locked and loaded with an apprentice of her own. After after a little give and take and back and forth, she enlists Set Hearth, a punk ex-Jedi who is a flashy dresser and a bit of a collector, which to me is pretty much exactly Freddie C, but as a wannabe Sith Lord. What do y'all think?
Oh, totally.
Can you just say Freddie C and fleshly vessel in one sentence, please?
Bane and Xana's past catch up to both of them, and Princess Sarah, the daughter, I've got son here in the show notes, that's not right, the daughter of the healer Caleb of Ambria. The audiobook calls Caleb. It's Caleb, isn't it? Just Caleb.
Caleb.
We will talk about that. I have some notes.
Oh, great. Emily has notes, everybody.
I've got notes.
Not only is Princess Sarah connected with Bane's dark and broody history, so is her bodyguard, Lucia. She, of course, is formerly of Bane's or Dex's Gloomwalkers squadron and really likes the guy, despite the fact that, he's a murderous Sith Lord. She doesn't know that. They were buddies. She has, of course, hired an assassin who has killed a Jedi. It gets a little bit plot heavy. She was investigating the death of Princess Sarah's husband, which is how she became a princess in the first place. There's a lot happening. Long story short, eventually the assassin wants to join Bane as a potential replacement for Darth Xana, all leading to a climactic conflict where Bane kills everybody but the assassin. He was imprisoned. It was quite brutal. And they find themselves, once again, for the finale, the third book in a row, mind you, on the planet Ambria. Bane and Xana's final battle is absolutely one of the most epic, climactic battles in Star Wars storytelling. It's one for the history books, or for the Essential Legends collections at least, where Xana realizes she can't defeat Bane with the blade alone, but employs Sith sorcery against him. There's Force Lightning, a Hail Mary essence transfer, snap hisses of the lightsabers, hallucinogenic snakes. Eventually, Bane finds himself with one last-ditch attempt to transfer his essence into Xana's body. Seemingly, Xana emerges victorious, is then adopted, then adopts Darth Cognis, the assassin aforementioned earlier, as her assistant to the Dark Lord of the Sith. See what I did there? And they all lived as happily ever after as a couple of Sith Lords can. But wait, there's a cliffhanger. Maybe the best in Star Wars books history. Jury's out on that one. Wait till Rick finishes Scoundrels, if you know what I'm saying. Anyway, the book closes on the image of Xana's hand trembling ever so slightly, perhaps a sign that there's a little part of Bane that still remains. Whew. All right,
So,
how'd I do?
Towards the end, was she trembling or clenching her fist as if it was trembling? Either way, there was like at the very end, it was like, wait, but was it trembling? I couldn't tell, and then yeah, I'll never forget the first time I read this, and I don't think I even cleared this up when I listened to it. I was like, wait a minute, hold on, I got to read that like 5 more times.
I understood that she was clenching her fist to try to keep it from trembling because she was frustrated. She was like, dang it, Bane messed me up a little bit there. Or perhaps Bane still remains. He
definitely still remains.
Yeah.
It is like that you don't, not explicitly, but like he's there.
It's
he
great.
transferred.
It's great for the fact that it's open-ended. One of the best open-ended endings, because we don't know what happens right after this. And there is no story of Darth Xana as Sith Lord. There is not another one, and that's what works so well. And Jakar Pashin's defense has gone on the record, shortly after the book was released, and said to him, of course, you may not want to listen to this. If you like the open-ended ending, don't listen to this. He came out and said that ultimately for him, Xana did win. But the idea is that some part of Bane still remains. It's just unclear how much of him still remains.
I think that was clear in the ending, because she says, like, who is it? Darth Cognis explicitly asks, like, Darth Bane. And Xana's like, nah.
Yeah, Bane is dead. Yeah.
Yeah, Bane's gone. Like, she explicitly states,
It's hard to say,
I am
because
not Bane.
If you are a Sith, right, the number one thing about Sith is deception, and that is like
lies,
that's
deception.
Yeah,
Bane is such a straightforward Sith. Like, he's such a brute. He just goes for what he wants, and he's just
practical.
slashes till he gets there. Like,
Yeah,
He's a
remember when he got
Sith.
frustrated with his his holocron, and he threw it against the wall.
exactly.
To me, he's a
We've all been
practical
there.
Sith, right? He's not psychotic. He's not, that's remains to be talked about. But he's not gonna kill somebody just for fun, right? He's not sadistic. I'm not sure what the term is. Emily, help me out here. He's not.
I think
he's not
sadistic
that.
is the word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't want to kill anybody for fun. He doesn't want to hurt
Mhm.
anybody for fun. He's just trying to be the most powerful thing ever, and he feels the responsibility of carrying this mantle of the Sith knowledge, the Sith practices with him, right? Unfortunately, if you're weak, you're useless, right? That's where things get a little interesting.
As a type A type of guy, I appreciate that Bane is a rule maker, and he sets himself guidelines, and he's a creature of habit. He does exactly what he said he was going to do until he decides that the rules aren't working for him, and so he just bends the rules to his own liking. So
he really likes to do that.
Okay, well, I mean, yeah, that's fair, but is the whole essence transfer thing, is that really a betrayal of the role of two? Isn't that a way?
Let's talk about that.
No, I don't think so, Rick.
Yeah.
Hot take right here. I think it's a Sith power. And if it's a Sith power, it has all the right to be used for whatever purpose it needs to be used in, right? We could say the same thing about conjuring black tentacles from the ground, right? Is that a fair trick? Yeah, it's Sith sorcery, right? And just like essence transfer, it's a Sith power, and if you know it, why not use it as a Sith? You have the right to use it.
Yeah, you've got powers such as lightsaber and force lightning and bend the rules a little bit. I mean, that's got to be the easiest one.
Yeah.
Thought bomb.
Thought bomb. That's another
Thought
power
bomb.
for sure. Yeah, that's like definitely a lot of button mashing combos. I can't help but read these books as video games because Drew Karpyshyn is a video game designer, and then once you've he wrote the story for Knights of the Old Republic infamously.
I thought he wrote action really well, like remarkably.
Oh man.
Yeah, in a lot of fans' minds, one of the best Sith Lord writers of all time for the fact that he created, Bane isn't an original creation for him, but he wrote an entire trilogy about him. So he really crafted the character.
Yeah.
Basically authored Bane and Xana and Revan and Malak. I mean, to many people, is the ultimate writer of Sith Lords next to George Lucas himself.
Big prediction here. What if because of that, right? We have a character who was created by Zahn and mastered by Zahn, which is Thrawn. Is there a possibility that Drew is brought back in as like the proprietor, not quite the proprietor of Darth Bane, but he knows him, right?
Nice.
We bring him back into canon via the original author.
Like they did with Zahn. That is the most brilliant thing you've ever said in the history of Legends Lookback. We're really making some show history tonight.
With Lucino, because he references Plagueis in the Tarkin book. And so he kind of, just a little bit, so we wouldn't be surprised at all.
A great point.
That being said, he could just say, see original Bane trilogy and submit the book, because like this era is completely uncovered by anything in current canon. Whereas, the Thrawn trilogy original was replaced by the sequel trilogy and some of the other lore that they built in. So this is still untapped timeline for canon. So they really could just copy and paste and call it a day.
There's a pretty significant timeline gap too, right? Between Xana and whatever we see with Darth Plagueis.
Yeah, this is 1,000 years before the original, before episode 1, I believe. It could be before the original trilogy, but it's once you get that far out in distance, 1,000 years is good enough.
Yeah.
Brushstroke.
1,000 years.
He, the first book, I don't know if it would fit very well in the canon, because it's very reliant on Knights of the Old Republic.
That's true. That's
but
true.
they're remaking it, so I guess
it
will potentially be somewhat canon. We don't know its level of canonicity, but I did appreciate Rick's question there. Was his breaking the rules in violation of his own rule of two? Xana says as much, right? She accuses him that his pursuit of eternal life violates the rule of two. Let's have us a good old-fashioned debate here. All right, Rick is on the side of which end of this debate?
I'm on Bane's side. I say it doesn't break the rule of two, that it enforces it. Him making himself as strong as possible by means of essence transfer is a legitimate path forward.
Okay, who's gonna take up the other side of the argument, the counterpoint?
Okay, so I feel like this is kind of breaking the rules. So it's sort of like how rereading books for the competition is not allowed. Sort of like you're just kind of like rereading life, but like in a different person. Like I don't know if that's kosher. I don't know if I agree.
Yeah, it's like when you have 3 wishes from the genie.
Yeah, and you ask for more wishes or something.
And the first rule, according to another podcast I like, kind of funny, they said the first rule is don't mess with me, right? So no funny business. Because the genies, they're always up to shenanigans. But then your third wish is always for infinite wishes, but like that's against the spirit of the genie, right? You can't.
Yeah.
I mean, you're basically much about telling that genie, you're my prisoner until I'm done with you.
Like, because if your intent is to strengthen the Sith, then that, according to Bane, that's okay. But if your intent is to continue to hold on to power, according to Xana, that's not okay.
Well, let's look at the rule of two.
Yeah.
Right. We've got the rule of two, which is you have a master and then you have the apprentice, the person who seeks the power.
Yeah.
And if you have a person who is immortal, you're gonna this is personally how I, it could go a different way. There's no way this is a fact or written in stone. But if there were anybody who were to defeat him, technically that would be the most powerful Sith ever. And that person would be more powerful than Bane, who has probably lived, say he did essence transfer and lived to be 5,000 years old. If whoever did beat him would be considered the most, I guess, the person who would be able to take the mantle from Bane. They have to be that powerful. But at the same time, you're supposed to let the apprentice take over, but there's no rule in how long it's going to take for that to happen. Or
you don't have to let the apprentice take over. You just have to let the Sith continue. Like, you want to have an apprentice if you die, but if dying is off the table, the rule of two only exists, in my opinion, to make sure that the Sith endure. Since he thinned the ranks because of all their infighting and stupidness, he just wanted the Sith to endure, in my opinion. So, like, I see. I'm building off what you're saying, Freddie, but I guess maybe differing a little bit. I'm sorry, I'm getting excited.
No, that's fine. But personally, I think it's a totally fair thing if it's a Sith power. And if it takes 5,000 years for an apprentice to beat him, then hopefully he's not senile by then.
I think I'll weigh in on the side of Bane is in a unique position here because there's no way to win and there's no way to fail either. He's in a win-win, lose-lose situation no matter which way.
And that was
go.
This whole book. It was a lot of lose-lose.
Exactly, because Bane wrote the rule in the first place. So as the one who wrote the rule, nothing wrong with bending the rules. You can make the rules say whatever you want. You friggin' made it up.
One thing that this book does really well in, and I know we've got a lot to talk about, but one of the things that I think this book does really well in is the price you have to pay when you enter into the dark side. When we see, like, the princess, right? What happened when she started feeling dark side feelings as a force sensitive, which I'm pretty sure she's a force sensitive of some sort. But what happens to her life when she starts to seek revenge and starts to hate and feel anger, it goes to shambles, right? And I think that's what this book really does, is when you start to enter into the dark side, you kind of lose a lot, including yourself.
Exactly. Yeah, the lose-lose. I thought that Princess Sarah's arc was one of the more beautiful things in the book. A book that's very dark and bleak, and there's no protagonist. I was explaining to my daughter, who was listening with me in the car a little bit.
Oh, man.
Hey, there's no good guy. By the way, they're all evil, so please don't do anything that they're doing. Right? There's no good guy, but you've got to have somebody to root
Please
for,
don't slash anyone.
knowing that they're going to fail. And I thought that her arc of wanting vengeance for this guy that ruined her freaking life, even though she's a princess, she wants vengeance and then rejects that. I thought that was beautiful. And you're right, for Bane, the more obsessed he gets with his new shiny thing. The last book was the Orbalisks. This book, it's Essence Transfer, Eternal Life. It's a path that leads to nowhere. It's doomed for failure. And that's one of the things that really distinguishes the Jedi and the Sith. The Jedi achieve eternal life by letting go of their attachment to life, feeling the need to control everybody and have everything. Whereas the Sith seek eternal life with every fiber of their being and can never achieve it. And the closest they ever get is to be one of these, dark and broody spirits in a tomb somewhere like Exar Kun, who haunts people and then gets their butt kicked by an 8-year-old, right? And Corran Horn. Exar Kun gets his butt kicked by Corran Horn and then the Solo twins as children. And after 4,000 years of waiting, poor guy. F's in the chat for Exar Kun. Yeah, it's a lose-lose situation for Darth Bane. On the one hand, you made the rules, you can break them. On the other hand, he was bound to fail. So if he tries to achieve eternal life, it's not gonna be it's not a road you want to go down, right?
Yeah, I don't think
Wayne
many
in the
Sith
chat, everybody.
masters.
Whose side are you on here? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, not many Sith masters want to give up the mantle of being that master, which is very Sithy, right? To want to be to not want to follow the rule of two, but eventually it's going to happen. But the one thing that's interesting is in Fatal Alliance. I'm reading Fatal Alliance. I just finished it too at the same time of this book.
Two Old Republic books at the same time. That's brave, Freddy.
Got Fatal Alliance on this side and Bane on the other side. But in Fatal Alliance, you get to see, it's a totally opposite book than this book, right? You get to see 3 factions, 4 factions, multiple factions working together, similar to the Yuuzhan Vong, right? But way in the Old Republic, working together, and the master working with the apprentice of the other one. So the Sith apprentice is with Bastila, or Bastila or Bastila, whichever one you prefer. There's a lot of pronunciations, typical Legends. But you see a Sith apprentice working with a Jedi master, and then on the other side you see a Jedi apprentice working, Padawan working with a Sith master, and you see both sides, right? You see both sides, and why, if you're a Jedi apprentice, you might actually like what the Sith is doing. He's powerful, extremely powerful, and there's nowhere you can meet your power with his power. It's just raw energy, right? And on the other side, you see like the calm and the serenity of a Jedi fighting in battle, and seeing a Sith look at that, you're like, hey, what? How are you so serene when you're fighting? I'm over here grunting, and you're over here just slashing away, looking like you're sitting down. It really puts in perspective, first of all, how different the Jedi and Sith are, but also how similar they can be at the same time. No money isn't a thing. Friends and family aren't a thing. It's almost like they have the same thing, just that there's like a few things that are different, right? And for instance, one is the dark side, the evil, as we see it. They don't see it that way. And of course the light side, which is more of helping people, helping the weak, etc. And then you see the point of view of the Sith, of the Jedi, which is a really weird thing to read at the same time as this book, because you can see how the Sith, they think that power is everything, right? So if you are weak, you either need to help the powerful to progress time forward, or if you're a Jedi, you're pushing everyone down and staying where you need to, right? So Force sensitives, you have to be a Jedi or you're nothing.
What gets me about Bane is he's so he looks down on the Jedi so much for their rules.
Right.
He looks down on them for being enslaved to their dogma. and yet Bane is the king of dogma.
Yeah.
He creates his own rules.
That's a good point. Good point.
Or like, yeah.
Hypocrisy.
Yeah.
You heard it here first, folks. Sith Lords, hypocrites.
Uh-oh.
Said it.
Maybe that's the power of the Sith.
Well, like apparently
right.
the Sith are supposed to be selfish, but in reality, the rule of two is very selfless. Like it's about preserving the order.
Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe that's why I've had an issue with the rule of two. Like I've always wondered what motivates them. You know, like why do they want the Sith order to continue? So...
Well, looking at Bane's philosophy, right? Because it's all philosophy. There's no fact in any of his teachings. It's philosophy because it's stuff he's read, things he believes in. It's not a fact, which
it all
boils
like
down
a lot of the fact that he was the Darth Revan fanboy, and
yeah,
right. I mean, it's the whole thing in the first book. He thought all his Sith Lord friends were posers.
Yeah,
but you know who was a real one? Darth Revan. He's just like a hipster. He just
it's cool to be a Sith.
That's right. Go ahead, Freddie.
Well, now it's cool to be a Jedi.
Yeah, that's what was the real problem with Revan was he was a flip flopper. All right. So continue. I like where you're going with this.
Who? Freddie?
Yeah, Freddie.
Yeah. So the Sith, right? His philosophy is centered around his observations of a story that he knows. Right. First, you just said it, Revan. But the problem is Revan. The story that he knows is one-sided. He's not looking at the other side of Revan, which is the Jedi side, and probably not realizing that gray Jedi are probably the best, right, Jared?
Yeah, that's right. Amen, brother.
But the thing is,
that one.
the rule of two is a philosophy. What was happening before was very true, though. It was an observation that Bane saw, which was they're killing the most powerful Sith using multiple people, teams of Sith, right, to manipulate, and that's not the way to get the most powerful Sith. And you can eventually find yourself in weakness, which is what Bane saw. And his solution was, well, instead of a group of Sith, there can only be two, because you can't have one, because then after that the Sith are gone. There can only be two maximum. So that he was on the other side, right, the extreme side of the Sith philosophy, which is unfortunately their undoing in some cases.
But it's interesting to see like the Force lore of it, because the reason the Sith rose to power is because they really concentrated all of the dark side on just a few very powerful individuals, versus the Jedi just kind of thought, oh, we'll just spread the light forever and ever and ever, forgetting that there's a balance to the Force.
That's the whole thing, right? If you have a balance and you have a bunch of Jedi on one side and the Sith are on one side, and you cull the dark side, if the balance is anything, that means the Sith are going to be extremely powerful versus the Jedi, if there's a balance. Personally, I feel like the balance in Star Wars is, with the Force, it goes over generations. It's not immediate, right? It's not like a quick change.
Yeah.
It's, once something has been disrupted, then it starts to formulate. Just like Bane said in the book, right? The future is constantly being shaped by what their decisions, what they decide to do. It's very interesting, honestly. A lot of Force lore.
The rule of two is the strongest when you've got somebody like Bane or Plagueis or Palpatine who wants to be there for the culmination of the grand plan. And so Bane, if he is successful with the essence transfer, and let's say that he is successful for 1,000 years, is able to then see the payoff, that makes a lot more sense to me. And Palpatine, obviously, especially in Legends, but even in canon recently, has his own contingency plans to stay around for a while, right? And so and some people have thought the same of Plagueis with his quest for eternal life. And it's one of the big debates about this book, and there's still a fan contingent and I'm sympathetic to it to a certain extent. Some fans have theorized that Bane survived the duel with Xana, and Bane transferred his essence to each Sith Lord for the next 1,000 years, leading up even to Palpatine. What do you think of this theory? You said it's a lot?
Well, yeah, like one transfer, sure. Like Palpatine did it in canon.
You did better the next time, right?
Like, Well, I don't know.
Like my chain link fence.
Like
my second one was a whole lot better than my first one.
well, like when you just kind of get weaker and like lose more of yourself, the more.
Oh, like when you make a photocopy of a photocopy.
Yeah, genetics, man. It's
What do you know about genetics, Rick? We had the same science classes.
Yeah, genetics are.
But there weren't any. We took Bible classes.
Yeah. I got nothing. I'm just a sci-fi fan, so it's one of those sci-fi words. I don't know.
Oh yeah, genetics. We know all of our genetics from sci-fi. Absolutely.
Do you think after enough? Well, Emily or Jared, or I guess anybody, after enough essence transfers, you turn into someone like Impadajayo's brand? Did I say that right?
The BB-8 meets Buzz Lightyear.
Oh man,
steampunk Jedi, the best. I was just thinking about him today.
I still haven't encountered him in the wild. I can't wait.
Emily, you'll find him in Dark Empire 2.
Okay.
If you don't have a copy, I'll send you one. That's right.
I think it's clear though that this trilogy of books does a lot to expand the universe. You know, it expands the lore, and the fact that we're talking about Jedi and Sith philosophy is ridiculous. You know, like that is a testament to how well this book does of expanding our concepts of this universe, you know, well, the Star Wars universe, I mean. And so it's definitely a classic set of books. And
makes Jedi look very weak.
Yeah. And that's cool. That's really cool.
Hey, you take that back. This trilogy has the greatest Jedi in the entire Legends timeline.
Who dies at the hands of Darth Bane?
Jedi Master Thor.
Yeah, he's dead. But Jedi, they're good at dying because they die with dignity. And
yeah, they are. They're really good at that.
And that is, of course, Valentine Farfalla.
Boo!
My favorite Jedi in all of Legends.
I feel like
Tumnus himself, right? That's where the name originated.
Straight out of a Marvel movie.
For our Harry Potter fans, I feel like
oh my gosh.
Valentine is very similar to like a Gryffindor of types, right?
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Does he have wings? This was like a surprise to me on the show. I didn't know that he had horse legs, right?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he's not supposed to. I'm pretty sure he's definitely human.
Not a Pegasus.
But the comics was like, why not?
Yeah.
Classic Legends tagline. Why not?
Why not?
I think Karpyshyn found that goofy and just kind of skimmed over it a little bit. He never mentions the horse legs. He focuses on his long golden locks, right?
Yeah.
And all the shimmer silk, like very into his wardrobe.
We're gonna go Twilight and with some.
We hear a lot about that.
How in the world did we get stuck on this?
I don't know. Let's get
Rick was making
bring it back around.
Rick was making an eloquent.
I was trying to transition us to something more productive, and then we got stuck on glittery Farfalla.
You're making
well.
A great
Apparently,
point.
Justin says he's half Bothan.
That's correct. Yeah.
I did not recall.
And
I don't want to know how that works. Okay.
He's half Bothan.
Also, has a flying galleon.
Amazing.
I don't even know what that means.
I want to say Salonians and Bothans are about genetically fairly close. I don't want to make any assumptions for our Bothan friends out there.
In Wedge's Gamble, which Corey just finished reading.
Oh, yeah.
And to find out more about that, listen to the 100th episode of Legends Lookback coming out this summer. We're going to have Corey on the show for a Corin Horn spectacular.
He loves the guy. He loves the guy.
Loves him.
Who else is spectacular? Darth Bane. We're going to close it out tonight with this. What is, all things considered, we've gone a lot of different directions tonight. We talked about holocrons and orbalisks and bending the rules and force lightning. All of this considered, whether or not Bane survived for 1,000 years or not, I think we're more on the side, sorry Rick, of the fact that he didn't. What is Bane's lasting legacy when it's all said and done?
The rule of two.
Rule of two. I mean, because he's referenced by the rule of two so frequently. Like that is his legacy because it comes up so often.
He broke his own rule that he established, and everybody who follows after him also breaks the rule.
I'm going to nuance it a little bit and say that not just the rule of two, but Palpatine, like he is the culmination of the rule of two, where he actually rules the galaxy, and he actually is successful for a limited time. And
limited time only.
Yeah, limited time only. You can rule the galaxy. And so
20 years.
Yeah, but
1,000 years in the making.
Right. Yeah. So I think that because like the Jedi were defeated, Order 66 was the greatest upset to the balance of the Force, and I mean other than like the thought bomb maybe. So
yeah, that's pretty big.
I don't know. Maybe not. I'm talking myself out of it. Continue.
No, I like that. Palpatine, the grand plan, the culmination.
Yeah.
I appreciate that as an answer more than
Rick, I'm gonna back you
rule
up
of
here.
two.
All right.
I'm gonna back you up here. I've got something to add on to that, right? So every decision that has ever been made in history leads up to a certain culmination of things, right? It's not like things happen overnight. Some things, yeah, right. But in most cases, you can trace the problem of something to the very beginning of something else. And I feel like the whatever happened before Bane, right? Everything that happened before Bane had to be made for Bane to make the decision that the Sith were no longer powerful and destroy them. And Bane had to make the decision that the rule of two was a thing, and every Sith that made the decision to keep that kept it all the way till Palpatine, right? So the culmination of the entire Sith history can be probably made by like the primitive Sith, I guess, in the Star Wars universe. But ultimately, I think if it wasn't for Darth Bane making that entire shift, we would not have seen the rule of two until maybe later.
Yeah, that's beautifully said. You know, you think about the new Sith Order is Bane's legacy because he made the hard choice to kill all the wannabe Sith.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a great point, Freddie. That I like that as the new Sith Order is Bane's legacy more than the rule of two, like the philosophy that he can't even keep himself. I like that. Emily, do you want to take a crack at this?
Well, I don't know. I feel like it's sort of like an extreme survival of the fittest. Like that's really what he cares about more than anything else. Like if you're strong, you'll survive, and if you're not, then you won't. And that is the way of things. That's the way it should be pursued. So like instead of focusing specifically on the number, it's more focused on may the strongest survive, and let's limit the number of the strongest. Like let's let it always be a battle. So that we kind of hone the dark side to like a very narrow, very powerful weapon.
Do you think that Bane? This is another question. Sorry, it's not in the show notes. But do you think Bane made the Sith stronger? Personally, I think yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think for sure.
Dark side philosophy, and Justin makes a great point in the chat that he found the Brotherhood of Darkness an interesting philosophical. Kind of thought experiment. The idea of having a brotherhood of equal Sith Lords. I do find that interesting, but wow, do they look lousy in that first book in comparison to Bane, who is strong from being a miner, and he's a soldier because he's a gloom walker, and he's a historian because he likes to hang out with Revan in the library. So he kind of represents the best of, and he's got the curved lightsaber. He's a good duelist. He's kind of all of this combined, right? A great comment in the chat here from our buddy Eric. Bane is like that high school coach that pushes the team too hard, but ultimately makes them the best. Yeah.
So true.
I can
well,
see
I think
it.
he's
and
the
then
first
tries
one
to
that
transfer
really
his essence into all of their corpses. What I call them, husks.
Husks.
Yeah. Husks.
Go
No,
ahead,
you called
Emily.
them fleshly vessels, but we're not going to dwell on that.
Now,
moving along. No, I feel like Bane is the first one that really understands the nature of the Force. I feel like everyone understands the Force as it pertains to them, as it pertains to like their personal growth. And he is the one that has a wide enough view for the Sith that he sees, okay, this is not going to be sustainable for the future of the entire Sith, but neither is it necessarily the best for the universe or the galaxy as a whole. The Jedi are focused so much on the galaxy and less so on the individual and on like the nature of the order. And the Sith are too obsessed with the nature of the order. So it's sort of like if you have like, if the light side and the dark side are supposed to be 50% each, then like if you're concentrating 50% on two like impossible to find individuals versus an entire order of Jedi, I feel like he just kind of got a strategic advantage on the Jedi that no one else had thought of before.
Yeah.
Wow. That's some great math happening there, Emily. You know what else is some great math? Justin says in the chat, Bane's Palpatine's reign isn't really that long.
It's really not.
Though, which makes me think about this. Hey, it's been 20 years that Bane reigned as the one and only Sith Master, just like Palpatine. So it's like poetry, it rhymes. And what else rhymes? This episode of Legends Look Back. That's going to be it for tonight. And we're going to have part 2 coming out next week if you want to hear more like this, but also different, because we'll be a week wiser and older. We're going to talk about the big overarching questions and also all the ones from tonight that we didn't get to.
And the
thank
names.
you, everybody, for hanging
Don't
out.
Forget the names.
What names?
Okay. No, all right. So I'll be really quick. But like basically, it cracks me up how these are all just regular names, but they
Darth Blaine and
pronounce it,
Hannah.
or they're like, like Darth, Bane, Xana, Hannah is just it's Hannah with a Z, or
is
like
his name Desmond or Des?
Sarah. It's Serra, not Sarah.
Oh, Caleb,
or like
for
Caleb.
example.
Khalib.
Like the naming in this book cracks me up.
Typical
it is
Legends.
like such basic names, and yet they like just tweak the spelling a little bit, and we're like, this is fine.
How is Caleb spelled? I say Caleb. The
Caleb.
The
I'm pretty
audiobook
sure.
is Khalib,
Yeah.
which I find ridiculous.
I love it.
Because Caleb works. All right, soapbox. Here we go. Cut to my one. Caleb works as a Star Wars name because it's biblical. All right, where's my suit and tie? I'm about to preach. It's Luke, for example.
Rick, I
Bible.
appreciate your grunt.
Thank you.
Bible
did the
name.
same
That's right. It's like a church lady grunt.
Amen. Come on.
It's Luke is a biblical name and a Star Wars name, and it's one syllable. It works. You know what doesn't? There was a name recently in canon. Kevin. There's a guy named Kevin. Doesn't work because it's real world, but it's not biblical and it's not one syllable. Oh man, Caleb isn't one syllable. I give up. Y'all get it. It's a Bible
How about
name.
the wackiest name of all Star Wars? The most vanilla name ever, Luke.
That's right. So for
not,
that
to,
reason,
not to offend anybody named Luke. Luke's
That's
a good
right.
name.
All of our
It's a
Lukes.
biblical name.
Fine.
thanks for listening to Legends Look Back. It was a name before the Bible existed, I guess.
Imagine
probably.
if it was John Solo.
It would work. John would work. It's a Bible name. So
Greg Solo.
Caleb works, as is Jared, Genesis chapter 5. All right. Well, on that note, I'm going to go straight from here to the pulpit and start
Freddie
preaching.
Organa.
That'll preach.
Jared, take us
That'll
away.
preach.
Jared,
Yeah.
hey,
Jared.
Jared is in Genesis 5. Look him up. He's the grandfather of
It's-
Methuselah.
If
Somebody.
it was
Mhm.
read in an audiobook, it would be Jareed.
Jared, for
Jared.
sure.
Or
Freaking
Jared.
hate that. No, stop it.
Jared.
Make it
Can we
stop.
give it a Hispanic pronunciation and make it Jared?
Jared.
That's
It
right.
could also be, that could be a lot of things.
That works.
Yeah.
That works.
Jared.
You know what else has worked? This episode of Legends Look Back. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out with us tonight. We've had a lot of fun and are looking forward to cracking it wide open some more next week, such as discussing Darth Hannah and Princess Sarah. Well, thank you for joining us for Legends Look Back. Thanks especially to our incredible patrons for your amazing support. We love making the show. We're glad you're along for the ride. You want to catch some more of the great shows in the Utini Podcast Network on Monday night. You can catch the Brotherhood Roundtable on the Living Force. On Wednesday night, you can catch the Edge of Balance Volume 2 Roundtable because, if you're anything like me, you've had this sitting on your bookshelf or on your desk, and you only just now realize that you haven't read it in order to be able to watch next week's episode of The Cosmic Force. So I know what I'm doing tonight. I'll be binging this bad boy. Is it right to left or left to right? It's a manga. That'll be fun to figure out.
Up to down.
I'll either spoil it right out the gate or start in the right place. We're about to find out. And next week on Legends Look Back, we'll do Darth Bane Roundtable Part 2. Thank you especially to Brian Dooley, Earl Q, Patrick Ortiz, and Carl Sander. My list has changed and it's thrown me off. We need more of y'all to subscribe so that you can throw me off even more. You see what I'm saying? All right. Also to Matt Billington, Elizabeth Cloutier, Freddie C, and Sally and Chris Eilerson on our Alliance High Command. Remember, everybody, sub to the channel. Leave us a review in your podcast platform of choice, especially if it's a nice one. If you want your thoughts read on this show, you can email us at legendslookback@utini.com. You can send us a message in the Legends Look Back Discord channel. You can leave a comment on this episode, YouTube, or you can find us on Twitter at Legends Look Back, at Jared Q Mays, or you can find Freddie
At Wake Up Freddy.
Rick,
At Rick_Grace.
or Emily.
At Darth Daybeck.
If you're looking to buy some of these books, such as the one with Xana's dreads, or the one where Bane is looking at you like you just spilled your milk on the new carpet, or if you want to buy the one that we're actually talking about this week, it took me a second to find it. There it is. Darth Bane, Dynasty of Evil. You can go on over to, or the book. They can't buy that on utini.com. Freddie, that's a collectible. You can only get that at the thrift store in the town there in California, but Alex already cleaned them out. Anyway, hey, if you're looking to buy some of these books, you want to help support the show, you can go on over to utini.com, click the Amazon link in the profile, and you can have your own copy and give us 4% of the sale. And of course, after you've read the book, leave us a review right there on utini.com and let us know what you think. No matter what you think, please keep the Utini fan code and be a force for positivity in the fandom. Until next week, guys, may the force be with you.